In a quiet town where the houses seemed to be dusted with powdered sugar and the air sparkled with frosty freshness, there lived a cat named Snowflake. Her snow-white fur, as if woven from the very snow itself, shimmered under the winter sun's rays, and her blue eyes, like two pieces of ice, gazed upon the world with curiosity and tenderness. She was not just a cat. She was the embodiment of winter, with her grace and unique beauty. Snowflake lived on the roof of an old house where the wind played its eternal melody and the snow created unique patterns. She was free and independent, like a snow whirlwind, but in her heart lived a tenderness that awaited its moment. Every day, Snowflake watched the life of the town, the hurrying people, the playing children, the cars bustling back and forth. She saw everything but remained invisible, like a winter ghost. Her home, the roof of the old house, belonged to a lonely old man named Elise. Elise was a quiet and taciturn man. His life flowed steadily and peacefully. Every morning he would climb to the roof to clear the snow and always left a little treat for Snowflake. He never spoke to her, but his kind eyes and gentle touches spoke volumes. Between them was a special connection, invisible but very strong, like a thread of frozen ice. Winter on the roof was especially beautiful. Snowflakes danced in the air like ballerinas, and frost painted intricate patterns on the house windows. Snowflake loved these moments when she felt part of this snowy world, when she felt harmony and peace. But even in this idyll, in this realm of snow and ice, something lingered in the air, like a gentle breeze foretelling change. Life in the town, despite its apparent quietness, was full of surprises and encounters. Snowflake observed the lives of her neighbors who lived in the houses near her roof. Among them, a few characters stood out, whose fates intertwined with Snowflake's life in one way or another. Next to Elise's house lived a young woman named Vera. Vera was an artist who loved to paint winter landscapes and often went outside to catch inspiration. She frequently noticed Snowflake on the roof and admired her beauty and grace. She even tried several times to draw her, but something always went wrong. She felt she couldn't capture the depth and mystery of this snowy cat. Across the street from Elise's house, in a small, cozy cafe, worked a kind-hearted barista named Daniel. He was always smiling and ready to help, loved his work and his customers. Daniel often went outside to admire the winter scenery and have a cup of hot coffee. He didn't notice Snowflake on the roof, but his kindness and warmth always felt in the air like invisible sunbeams. In the neighboring house lived an old woman named Sophia. Sophia was a very wise and perceptive woman. She knew many stories and legends. She often sat by the window, watching the town's life. She felt Snowflake's presence on the roof and knew that this cat was special, that she carried something more than just beauty and grace. One night, when the town was enveloped in silence, a fierce blizzard broke out. The wind howled like an injured beast, the snow fell in walls, and it seemed the entire world plunged into chaos. Snowflake, hiding in a secluded spot, shivered from cold and fear. The wind was so strong it nearly knocked her off the roof. She had never experienced such a fierce blizzard in her life. By morning, the blizzard had subsided, but the town had transformed. Everything was covered with a thick layer of snow. Trees stood in white coats, and houses seemed like fairy tale castles. Snowflake, struggling to leave her refuge, discovered that the roof where she lived was partially destroyed. The strong wind had torn off part of the roofing. She felt lost and lonely. Snowflake realized she could no longer stay on the roof. She felt cold, hungry, and afraid. She was forced to leave her home and seek shelter elsewhere. She jumped off the roof and found herself on a snow-covered street where everything seemed foreign and unfamiliar. Her world, so familiar and understandable, was shattered in an instant. Snowflake wandered the town's streets, her white fur blending with the snow, making her almost invisible. She sought warmth and food, but everything around seemed hostile and cold. She encountered other cats who were unfriendly and tried to chase her away. She froze, tired, and lost hope. She hid under bushes, sought shelter in basements, and tried to find something edible. Hunger and cold were her constant companions. She remembered her roof, her owner Elise, and felt her heart break with longing and pain. She understood she needed to find help, to find her place in this cold and hostile world. One day, exhausted and freezing, Snowflake stumbled upon a small cozy cafe where Daniel worked. She peeked through the window and saw warmth and light emanating from inside. She felt that she could find salvation there. She dared to approach closer, hoping someone would notice her. Daniel, stepping outside to ventilate the place, noticed a white cat shivering from the cold. He immediately understood that the cat needed help. He opened the door and gently called her over. Snowflake, full of distrust, was initially scared, but then, seeing the kindness in Daniel's eyes, timidly approached him. Daniel let Snowflake into the cafe, fed her warm food, and gave her a soft place to rest. Snowflake, warmed and nourished, felt safe. She realized she had found someone who could protect and care for her. Daniel, in turn, was enchanted by Snowflake's beauty and grace. He felt she was a special cat, and that he should help her. Daniel began to take care of Snowflake. He fed her daily, played with her, and warmed her with his presence. Snowflake, in return, responded with affection and loyalty. A special bond formed between them, based on kindness and mutual understanding. She realized that even in the toughest situations, warmth and love could be found. Daniel didn't know where Snowflake came from, didn't know she lived on the roof of the old house, and didn't know she had an owner. But looking at Snowflake, he felt she was lost and searching for something. He decided to help her find her past. He began asking his acquaintances if they had seen this white cat anywhere. Vera, who often visited Daniel's cafe, one day recognized Snowflake as the cat she had seen on Elise's roof. She told Daniel that she had seen the cat on the roof and that perhaps she was someone's beloved pet. Learning this information, Daniel decided to visit Elise to see if he had lost his cat. Daniel and Vera went to Elise's house but didn't find him. Neighbors told them that after the blizzard, Elise had disappeared, and no one knew where he was. They realized that Snowflake had lost not only her home, but also her owner. They didn't know how to help Snowflake, but they were determined to find her owner. Daniel and Vera didn't give up. They continued searching for Elise, put up notices, questioned people, and contacted the police. Sophia, the old woman who lived nearby, also helped them in their search. She knew many stories and legends and believed that Elise would definitely be found. She told Daniel and Vera that Snowflake was not just a cat but a true guardian angel, and that she would surely lead them to Elise. One day, when hope was nearly lost, an accident occurred. Daniel was walking with Snowflake down the street when they came across an old man sitting on a bench, staring into a single point. The old man resembled Elise but was dressed in dirty clothes, and his face bore a mark of sorrow. Daniel approached him and asked if this was his cat. The old man looked at Snowflake and, recognizing her, couldn't hold back his tears. He said that he was Elise, and that after the blizzard, he had lost his memory and didn't remember who he was or where he came from. He said he had wandered the streets until volunteers found him and took him to a homeless shelter. But when he saw Snowflake, his memory began to return. Snowflake, seeing her owner, rushed into his arms. Elise hugged her and stroked her, tears streaming down his cheeks. He was happy to have found his beloved cat and to have his memory restored. Elise told Daniel and Vera about how he lived on the roof, how he loved Snowflake, and how he got lost during the blizzard. Daniel and Vera helped Elise return home. They assisted him in repairing the roof and restoring his usual way of life. Elise couldn't express his gratitude to Daniel and Vera. He told them that Snowflake was not just a cat but his guardian angel, and that she had brought him back to life. Elise, Daniel, and Vera became friends. They often met, walked together, drank tea, and shared stories. Snowflake, in turn, was happy to have returned to her owner and to have found new friends. She realized that even in the most difficult situations, there is room for kindness, love, and hope. Since then, Snowflake's life and that of her friends were filled with warmth, joy, and love. Snowflake continued to live on the roof, but she no longer felt lonely. She knew she had Elise, Daniel, and Vera, who would always be by her side. She knew she was part of their big family, that she was loved and cherished. Snowflake's story is a tale of how love can overcome any obstacle, how kindness can melt ice, and how hope never dies. It is a story about the importance of valuing what you have and about the importance of helping those in need. And every time a blizzard began in winter, Snowflake would go out on the roof and listen to its song. She was no longer afraid. She felt strong and confident. She knew she was part of this world, that her life had meaning, and that her heart was full of love. Snowflake's story left a deep mark in the hearts of all who heard it. It showed that even in the most difficult situations, when it seems there is no way out, there is always room for hope and faith. It reminded us that kindness and love are the most valuable treasures we can give to each other. And every time it snows, remember Snowflake, her white coat, her blue eyes, her strength, and courage. Remember that even the smallest and most unnoticed angel can change the world for the better. Let this story be a reminder that every heart has room for warmth, love, and hope, even on the coldest winter days.